Hello there and welcome. So this is your first video in our video lecture series for biology in metrics. I'm your lecturer, Miss Delia. And if you're ready, let's dive right into it. So this is the very first chapter and we are going to go into the very first subtopic. You may notice my slides are a bit different from the ones you can find on the biology website, and that is on purpose because I rearranged the material so that I can deliver the content in a more easy to digest way. You can choose to print either of these versions. The ones you can find on the website are more friendly to your printer because it uses less pages. But if you want mine, you can feel free to ask for the PDF. Otherwise, I will not be uploading them in the Google Classroom. Okay, so let's go into it. Chapter 1, Molecules of Life. So this is an overview of the chapter that I have given you during the Google Meet. And we are going to look at this very first molecule, which is water. So chapter 1.1, water. Here are the learning outcomes. With every chapter, with every subtopic, we have learning outcomes. So what should you know by the end of this lesson? You should be able to state the structure and the properties of water molecules, and you should be able to relate the properties of water to its importance. So later we'll look at these 6 properties of water and why they are so important for you to stay alive. Okay, let's look at importance of water. First of all, water is needed for all forms of life to exist. About 50 to 75% of your body is water, and the importance of water to living organisms include: it acts as a medium for many chemical reactions. It is important for the regulation of body temperature. It is important to transport molecules such as oxygen and nutrients, and it aids in digestion and lubrication. So the way I like to teach in my lessons is I try to use a mix of English and Malay. Okay, and I go through the slides so that if you were reading the slides and you don't understand it, hopefully when you watch my video, you'll be able to understand them. And then I don't have to explain the same thing to 10 people during a Google Meet. Okay, so napaka penting sebab air membolehkan kita untuk hidup lah. So that's all this stuff right here. Oh, sorry. Let me just move my head away. Okay, there we go. Right, so yeah, you're mostly water. Badan kita kebanyakannya badan kita mengandungi 50 hingga 75% air. Dan kenapa air penting untuk kita hidup? Sebab dia medium for many chemical reaction. So banyak chemical reaction macam hydrolysis, digestion or whatever, all that takes place in water. Dia mengambil tempat di dalam air. Air sebagai tempat dia larut dan hasilkan chemical reaction. Air diperlukan for regulation of body temperature, okay, untuk kita kawal perubahan suhu dalam badan. Transporting molecules such as oxygen and nutrients, and aids in digestion and lubrication. So penghadaman, lubrication, anything that needs pelincir, water is there. Hey, as you notice, my BM is not that good at explaining. So as long as you understand, try to keep up. If you don't understand, feel free to ask me again. Okay, so let's talk about water. What does water look like? You can draw water like this. You can draw water like this. You can draw water in a beaker like you do in your science experiment like this. But now, we are going to look at how water has its properties. So let's draw it down to its molecular structure. Okay? You know water is H2O. So kita start dengan lukis dia punya oxygen, dia punya hydrogen 2 biji, dan kita sambungkan dia dengan covalent bond. Okay? We draw the oxygen, the hydrogens, and then connect them with a covalent bond. The covalent bond is not straight, it's not straight line. It is at an angle of 105 degrees. 105 darjah. So go ahead and label your 105 degrees. And then you need to be able to label the covalent bonds. So ini yang antara oxygen dengan hydrogen, itu adalah covalent bond. And water is a polar molecule with slight positive and slight negative charge. Dia akan ada slight positive charge di bahagian hydrogen. So down here you put slight positive, and slight negative charge near the oxygen. So slight negative di atas sini. Okay, so this is how I would draw a water molecule. So this is describing the structure of water molecule. It's pretty much what I told you just now, just that it is in longer sentences. Benda yang sama dengan tadi, cuma di dalam ayat yang panjang dan sempurna. So what is water? It consists of oxygen, hydrogen, ada covalent bond, they form a triangle, not a straight line. So kalau kita lukis mesti dia begini, macam ada V. Water molecule is electrically neutral, but there is a net negative charge on the oxygen atom and net positive charge on both hydrogen atoms. Ini yang saya cakap tadi, yang ada slight negative at oxygen, slight positive at the hydrogen. Bila dia macam ni, ada bahagian yang lebih positif, ada bahagian yang lebih negatif, dia dipanggil sebagai polar molecule. So water is one of those polar molecules. Oh, okay, the last point. The last point means kalau ada water molecule lain di sekeliling, hydrogen atom yang ini yang ada slightly positif, dia akan tertarik kepada oxygen atom yang slightly negatif pada molekul air yang lain. That is what is meant by here. Positively charged hydrogen atoms is attracted to negatively charged oxygen atoms of nearby water molecules by forces called hydrogen bonds. Now we are moving on to the next important point, which is what is hydrogen bond? So between one water molecule and the next water molecule, it can form bonds. Okay, dia boleh ada hubungan. And the most important one that you should know about is hydrogen bond. To draw hydrogen bond, I would draw it like this. Okay, saya akan lukis satu water molecule tanpa dia punya cas-cas. Di sini saya lukis satu water molecule yang lain, tapi dia sengit sedikit. Dan saya akan lukis hydrogen bond dia. Because this is slightly positive, this is slightly negative, they are going to be attracted to each other. And then it's going to form a hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond kita akan lukis dengan dash, 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 dash. Macam ni, garis putus-putus. Not straight line. Garis lurus bertitik. Titik ataupun dash macam ni lah, yang palang pendek. Okay, so you can draw another water molecule, another water molecule, another water molecule. Draw the hydrogen bond, and then label the hydrogen bond. Draw, 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 label. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. One water molecule can form 4 hydrogen bond with other water molecules. Okay, so you can also draw them like this. Kalau kamu tidak mau yang palang-palang pendek-pendek, kamu boleh lukis dia titik-titik. Okay, so this is what I said just now. The thing about hydrogen bond is it is weaker than covalent bonds. So itu air tergerak jauh sikit, dia punya hydrogen bond sudah boleh terputus. Tapi dia cukup kuat untuk mengekalkan posisi water molecules. Atau bukan cakap mau cakap kekalkan posisi kan tidak, but basically it's strong enough to hold it together. Dia pastikan water molecule itu tidak terlari daripada satu sama lain. Because of these hydrogen bonds, water molecules are attracted to charged particles or charged surfaces. Okay, so this is why it can form bonds with charged particles. In fact, the hydrogen bond contributes to the most of the unique properties of water. Okay, so water is so special, it's so able to support our life because it has these following unique properties. So what are the properties of water? The unique property of water, number 1 is it is a universal solvent. Number 2, it has low viscosity. Number 3, it has high specific heat capacity. Number 4, it has high latent heat of vaporization. And number 5, it has high surface tension. And number 6, it has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Let's look at all these stuff one by one. What makes water so unique? We are going to look at point number 1, water as a universal solvent. So if you remember, perkataan solvent, solute dengan solvent, Solvent adalah water. Solute adalah benda yang larut di dalam solvent. So water is a polymolecule. It can act as a universal solvent that is able to dissolve various types of substances. Substances that can mix and dissolve well in water are known as hydrophilic substances. Hydrophilic, hydro meaning water, philic means it likes. So benda-benda yang suka air, hydrophilic, akan mudah larut dalam air. So these are some examples. Substances that do not mix well with water are known as hydrophobic substances. So benda macam minyak-minyak, lemak-lemak, okay, dia tidak mudah larut dalam air sebab dia takut air. Hydrophobic, scared of water. And thirdly, any substance that carry a net electrical charge, including both ionic compounds and polar molecules, can dissolve in water. So benda yang ada cas boleh larut dalam air because water is polar molecule. Okay, so things that do not dissolve in water. Oil, for example, is a non-polar molecule. So non-polar molecules like oils, there is no net electrical charge. It is not attracted to water molecules and therefore does not dissolve in water. So what makes water such a successful universal solvent is the partial charge that develop across the water molecule. So inilah yang saya cakap tadi, yang slight negative, slight positive. Water will dissolve substances by surrounding charged particles and pulling them into the solution. So cara dia larutkan benda yang ada cas adalah dia kerubun dan tarik dia ke dalam larutan. So water is vital both as a solvent in many of the body solids dissolved and as an essential part of many metabolic processes within the body. So it's in the body, it makes sure that things have somewhere to dissolve. Okay, benda-benda chemical dalam badan kita, dia ada tempat untuk larut. Dia ada tempat untuk larut, baru dia boleh jalankan semua proses-proses metabolism dalam badan kita. Dalam badan kita. Okay, we are moving on to the second unique property of water. So, this one is low viscosity. Apa maksud viscosity? It's very easily explained through this picture. The less viscous a fluid is the greater its ease of movement. So, tengok macam ni. Water has low viscosity, so it flows very easily. These are different types of oil, and these different types of oil have different viscosity. This is low viscosity. Low but ni dia rendah, dia tinggi sikit, dia tinggi banyak, dan ini sangat tinggi. Okay, so you can see how easily it can flow or how difficult it can flow. Paling kiri adalah low viscosity, paling kanan high viscosity. Why is it important that water has low viscosity? Water punya viscosity decrease as temperature increases. Okay. So makin panas, makin senang dia mengalir. Kenapa ini penting? Okay, why is it important for us to use water which has low viscosity? Is because your cells need things to move. Okay, number one, you need cellular motion. Cells sometimes move, and also organelles within the cell will need to move. Water will do this, and it will also facilitate endocytosis and exocytosis. B, second reason why we want low viscosity water is because of your blood circulatory system. Your blood needs to flow, 95% of your blood plasma is water. Because it is low in viscosity, you can have efficient functioning of circulatory system. Blood can flow through narrow passages without blocking or slowing them down. If water had slightly higher viscosity than it is, pumping blood through a capillary would require high pressure. Secara ringkasnya, sebab water ada low viscosity, darah kamu dapat mengalir dengan lancar. Pretty much it. And last but not least, water will act as a lubricant to reduce the force of friction between two objects or surfaces that are moving against each other. So, for example, where it can be used as a lubricant is in your joints, in your knees, for example. dalam kamu punya sendi. Okay, so in your joints, you will have synovial fluid between the two bones to make sure that they don't rub against each other and you don't hurt your own bones, basically. Okay, we are moving on to the third unique property of water. Third unique property of water is it has high specific heat capacity. High specific heat capacity means more energy is required to change the temperature of that substance. Kalau benda itu ada low specific heat capacity, kamu kasih panas sekejap saja, dia punya suhu akan berubah dengan cepat. Benda yang ada high specific heat capacity, kamu perlu kasih panas dia dengan lebih lama, dengan haba yang lebih banyak, untuk ubah suhu bahan itu. Okay, so that is what is meant by high specific heat capacity. The reason for this high specific heat capacity is the hydrogen bond garis putus-putus yang kita lukis tadi. It can absorb large amount of heat energy without changing its temperature. And that is important for our body and for the earth. It's important for the earth by buffering large fluctuations in temperature. Buffering, the word buffering, think of it as like loading. Okay? Benda yang buffering, ambil masa untuk berubah. So water buffers large fluctuations in temperature. Dia tidak akan, bila cuaca berubah, suhu persekitaran kita tidak akan berubah secara mendadak kalau kita ada banyak air. Contoh, di sekitar, if you're near a body of water like the sea, if you're near a pond, you will be able to tell the difference. Okay, you can ask me a question about that later if you're a bit confused. But basically, you need to know that it buffers large fluctuations in temperature. And secondly, it enables organisms, okay, living organisms like me, to regulate my body temperature more effectively. Okay, we're moving on to fourth unique property of water, which is high latent heat of vaporization. Ini ada berkaitan dengan yang tadi juga. High latent heat of vaporization means more energy is needed to turn liquid water into water vapor. Vaporization berubah menjadi vapor, jadi uap air. Hydrogen bonds between water molecules, sekali lagi, hydrogen bond, makes it difficult for them to be separated and vaporized. Which means if you want to turn water into water vapor, more energy is needed. How do living organisms use this unique property of water? Well, first of all, you sweat. So, contoh kalau kamu berpeluh, okay, why can sweat cool you down? Because when the sweat is on your skin, it's going to absorb the heat from your body, from your skin, and eventually vaporize. Your body feels cooler after your sweat dries because the heat is already taken by the water molecule in your sweat and vaporizes. Other examples of how water's high latent heat of vaporization is used in nature is transpiration in green leaves. And both of these, sweating and transpiration, allows organisms to cool down because, like I said, when water molecules escape, it will carry the heat with them. Right, let's move on to number 5. Number 5 unique property of water is high surface tension. Surface tension is a measure of the strength of the water's surface film. Okay? Ketegangan permukaan air. And water has a very high surface tension. This high surface tension is because of the strong cohesion and adhesion properties of water. Apa itu cohesion and adhesion? Cohesion means macam kira cooperation, kerjasama antara water molecule. So, kamu nampak satu water molecule dengan water molecule kedua dan ketiga dan empat dan kelima, dia macam berjalin. Okay, this is called a cohesion. Water molecule connecting to other water molecules. What is adhesion? Adhesion like adhesive tape, benda yang melekat. means the water molecule is sticking to a surface other than water. So, kalau kamu masukkan dia dalam measuring cylinder, water molecule pertama dengan dinding cylinder itu, water molecule kelima dengan dinding cylinder. That is adhesion. And you can see that shown in this cartoon as well. Okay. Now we are moving on. Oops. All right, so we are moving on to the example, okay? Surface tension of water permits water to hold up substances heavier and denser than itself. So, dia boleh menampung benda yang lebih berat dan lebih mampat daripada dia. So, contoh dia, okay, an example is you can make a needle float on a surface of water. And some aquatic insects will use water to move around by using the surface tension of water. In other words, water is sticky and elastic, and it tends to clump together in drops rather than spread out in a thin film. Another reason why high surface tension of water is important is it is responsible for capillary action. So sekarang kita tidak akan masuk dengan secara mendalam apa itu capillary action, tapi bila kita belajar pasal plants, kita akan belajar lagi benda ni. Surface tension is responsible for capillary action, which allows water and its dissolved substances to move through the roots of plants and also through the tiny blood vessels in our bodies. Right. So that is it for high surface tension. And we're moving on to the final point, which is maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, so water is most dense, air adalah paling mampat bila dia pada suhu 4 degrees Celsius, or more accurately 3.98 degrees Celsius or 39.16 degree Fahrenheit. So that means that ice, which is 0 degrees Celsius, is less dense than water and it will float on top of water. Different from other substances where solid form is always denser than the liquid state, and water is the only substance on this planet where the maximum density of its mass does not occur when it becomes solidified. So dia paling mampat bila dia cecair 4 degree Celsius. Bila dia frozen jadi ice, it's less dense than that. Why is that important? Because in nature, not just in your fridge, okay, in nature at freezing temperatures, water will freeze on the top first, and this will create a layer that insulates the water below, preventing it from freezing. So first point is that bukan satu tasik itu akan beku kalau cuaca kalau suhu persekitaran kita turun. Only the top layer will freeze. Bottom layer is still water. Why is this important? Because the water contains living organisms, and aquatic organisms can survive and live inside a partly frozen pond during the winter because water at the bottom has a temperature of around 4 degrees Celsius. Bila dia begini, di atas ni adalah 0 degrees Celsius, di bawah around 4. So ikan-ikan or whatever other plants, whatever other animals that can live at that temperature will continue to live at that temperature. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 1.1. Once again, these are the learning outcomes. I hope you're able to achieve these. If not, maybe look at the notes again or listen to the video again or ask me question. And very short summary, what you should know about 1.1 is this thing, this way how to draw the water, and also this, the 6 unique properties of water and how to explain. Okay, jangan terus tidur, jangan terus pergi next video, dengar dulu arahan ini. What should you do now? Now you should take out a piece of paper, or you can do this on your very, very canggih punya laptop, if you have. I would like you to draw a water molecule. Lukis water molecule cara yang saya ajar tadi. And then, on the same water molecule, draw 4 other water molecules and form hydrogen bonds. Show the same water molecules forming 4 hydrogen bonds with 4 other water molecules. And instruction number 3, you should go through your notes. Now you answer me in a paragraph, okay? Tulis dalam satu perenggan. Explain 2 of the unique properties of water and its importance. Daripada 6 itu, baca, pilih 2, explain sama saya, dan nyatakan kepentingan. If you write this on paper, I want you to snap a picture, turn that picture into PDF, and upload it into Google Classroom. If you are doing this with your computer, I would prefer you export this into a PDF form also, and then upload it in Google Classroom. So I hope those instructions were clear. That is the end of 1.1, and I will see you again at 1.2. Thank you. See ya.